Alright guys, so I'm gonna give you my impressions from the Titanfall 2 technical test. I've been playing it as a result of getting a code, an early access code. The full tech test is available on Friday. For anyone who wants to participate, you can just download it from either the Xbox or the PlayStation Store. But for me, I got an early access code so I can play it a day or two early. So basically I'm just here to give you an impression of what to expect on Friday, especially for those of you who played Titanfall 1 and are wondering how much the game has changed or whether the changes are good or bad. So I guess I'll start with the very fundamentals, which is how the game feels now. This is applying mostly to console. PC is a different ball game. The console just in regards to even how people play. You'd find keyboard and mouse players play a lot faster than console players, and that's no slight against console players. I'm a console player myself, but it's just the reality from the YouTube videos I've watched. So how the game feels, it feels about the same as Titanfall 1, with the exception of the fact that if you played Titanfall 1 on Xbox One, you'll notice the game feels ever so slightly more sluggish, and I don't mean to say the game feels sluggish. It just feels ever so like the smallest increment more sluggish than Titanfall 1 on Xbox One, and that's because of the VSync solution that they've implemented in this game. For those of you who don't know, VSync is basically a visual a visual remedy that the developers apply in order to stop stuff like screen tearing and just generally bad effects on your screen. So it's just basically something to make the picture look smoother on your screen. And the result of this is that you have ever so slightly more input lag, and furthermore, when the frame rate drops, which it sometimes does, not a lot, but when it sometimes does, it means that when the frame rate drops, your sensitivity decreases, which can make for a not so smooth feeling experience. On Titanfall 1 and Xbox One, when the frame rate dropped, your screen just tore, like as in the visual quality basically decreased, but your sensitivity remained the same. There was no impact on your ability to, turn around and look at enemies and aim at enemies. In this game, that's not the case. The picture looks a bit smoother, but everything's a little bit more sluggish, and that's all being done for a smoother visual presentation. Whether this is a good or bad thing, I don't know. I personally think it's a bad thing, and I hope and I expect them to get rid of this VSync solution by launch, because it can have some not so great effects at times. So in terms of the feel, you're looking at it. It's still a very responsive game, but it's just not as responsive as Titanfall 1. In regards to jump mechanics and wall running and stuff and jumping off titans, everything's slightly more toned down. Wall running is exactly the same. You still get momentum off wall jumps. You can't bunny hop as effectively as you used to. I know bunny hopping was very popular with PC community. You can't really do that as effectively. You can bunny hop once or twice, but after that it sort of falls off. Which, I mean, different people have different opinions on this. They're basically, it is what it is. Whether you like it or not, it's there, and it's there, So, and I think the only thing that's different from Titanfall 1 in regards to how the game feels is, jumping is a little bit heavier. Your character feels a bit heavier, so jumping just isn't as bouncy as it once was, but still a very smooth feeling experience overall. Moving on to maps, or the maps they've included in the beta. There's a big map, which you're seeing now. It's big and open and wide, and then there's a more industrial map. I'm just going to say it now, this map that you're seeing was not a good choice for the beta, especially given that they have a pilot v pilot mode, and I'll get on the game modes next. Man, I don't like this map is good and all, but I feel it would work a lot better in Hardpoint. I feel in a mode like the game mode I'm playing, which is basically kill grunts for points, or kill AI bots for points, and kill enemies along the way. I feel like the map's far too big and far too spread out to have consistent action. I feel if there was a game mode like Hardpoint, which is domination for the Call of Duty people out there, I feel it would funnel the action a lot more, and you'd have a much better idea of where the action is. On this map, at least right now, that's not always the case. It's a good map, don't get me wrong, it's well laid out, there's a lot of parkour opportunities, but it's just so big, and that means that in modes like this, and especially Pilot v Pilot, the action is very spread out and it can get quite quiet at times. The other map isn't like this at all. The other map's quite built up. There's a lot of action going on all the time, and it's, the important thing to remember is, despite my complaints about this map, the map is actually designed very well. It's just in this particular game mode doesn't work brilliantly, but in terms of the how the map is laid out and the abilities for Titans to get across the map and the ability for pilots to weave in and out, it's very good. Map design is very good. It's just for these particular game modes, this map in particular, not the other one, but the one you're seeing, wasn't a great choice. In regards to game modes, I'm just going to say it, they made bad choices for the beta. They should have had Hardpoint from weekend 1. Pilot v Pilot is there for those who want it. I personally feel it's far too quiet and it makes the game feel a bit empty. The mode you're watching is a sort of mode that's based around killing AI bots for points, and as well as enemy players. It's okay. I feel it's a bit too focused on killing the bots. It feels a bit like Warzone from Halo 5, which was basically a PvE focused mode. We're getting Hardpoint Domination next weekend, what's called Amped Hardpoint nowadays, but and that'll really help things. But man, I can't help but feel like they should have had Hardpoint in there from day one, because a lot of people are going to play this and they're just not going to know what's going on. And this game mode in particular, might I say, this AI mode, quite confusing. You don't know what's going on for the first 2 or 3 times you play it, but you do catch on. So overall, I might have sounded a bit harsh. I want to reiterate, this game is really fun. For those of you more casual players coming from Titanfall 1 who love that game, you're going to enjoy it. It's much better presented, lots more persistence, lots more unlocks. I feel the game will have a much longer tail than Titanfall 1 did, and I feel it'll have a much bigger community because PS4 is being included. But the more hardcore players, you might have some niggles in regards to how the movement system has been changed. But I mean, overall, I'm really enjoying it, and I sounded harsh, and I apologise for that. But I'm just giving tips to the developers as to what to fix. Overall, the game's really good, and I'm looking forward to launch day because I think it'll be a great